river. Baby.
Baby, I need to know. I just been fantasizing, and we got a lot of time. Baby, come throw the pipe. Gotta know what it's like, yeah. Baby, I need to know. You're exciting, boy, come find me. Your eyes told me, girl, come ride me. Fuck that feeling, both us fighting. Could he try? Most likely.
Trying to see if you can handle the sex. Probably give his ass a panic attack. Sorry if I gave a random erection. Probably thinking I'm a telekinetic. Oh, wait, you a fan of the magic? Poof, pussy like an Alakazam. I heard from a friend of a friend that dick was a 10 out of 10.
I can't stand it, just one night, man. Drink with the drink, give me a sip. Tell me what you can, give me the dick. Spank me, slap me, choke me, bite me.
Wait, I can take it. Give a fuck about what your wife is saying.
Wanna know what it's like? Baby, show me what it's like. I don't really got no tights. I just wanna fuck all night, yeah. Baby, I need to know. I just been fantasizing, and we got a lot of time. Baby, come throw the pipe. Gotta know what it's like, yeah. Baby, I need to know.
Doctor sọ fún mi pé mo ti catch feelings. Say that she be sucking breast every night before sleeping. Ó fún mi lókun tí ma lò, ó ní sex in the morning, sex in the evening. Sex in the fucking evening. Ó yẹ kó ti yé yín, ibi tí sọ̀rọ̀ dé, ó yẹ kó ti yé yín. I just paid the drug test, doctor sọ fún mi pé drug test positive. Cocaine negative, heroin negative, cannabis positive. Marian, stay high pressure, check everything possible. You what think positive? Malo wo rẹ̀ pin, ó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ anytime, ó yẹ kó ní believe. Now we are now there. Ṣèbó lómi ló máa rẹ̀. Tó bá sùn gbalaja, àsọmọkùnrin ṣó yẹ kí n lọ́gẹ̀dẹ̀. Mo yá dá dùbúlẹ̀, àsìkò tó sún mi kí n má dá dùbúlẹ̀. Wọ́n fọ́ mọ́ rẹ̀ bọ̀ rẹ̀, sójà ẹ̀fọ́ ẹ jẹ́ kó máa lọ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ó fẹ́ já mi láyà, ọmọ àṣẹ tó fẹ́ já kú láyà. Bébí ṣẹ̀rù bà wọ́n, jẹ́ kí díẹ̀ kó máa gbọ̀n kó máa yí bí táyà. Mo kàn ń rò kúrò títí wà kó máa da fún kan tó gbé sáyà. Malance and feelings too, yebo, you are my heart desire. Ó pọ̀ wọn lè jẹ tán, you should go straight to the point tí mi ò fẹ́ jọ. Mo fún ní mo fún lẹ́pọ̀n, ìgbà tó padà jáde ṣe ló kẹtàn. Ẹ fílẹ̀ kó ṣàlàyé, ṣó máa sọ pé ó mọ̀ ń polówó lálàyé. Àwa má dé jẹ́ kí n gbàgbé, wọ́n mi létí kí n lo oògùn mi tá bá délé. Mo ṣe ṣe blood test ni doctor sọ fún mi pé mo ti catch feelings. Say that she be sucking breast every night before sleeping. Ó fún mi lókun tí máa lò, ó ní sex in the morning, sex in the evening. Ó yẹ kó ti yé yín, ibi tí sọ̀rọ̀ dé, ó yẹ kó ti yé yín. I just paid the drug test, doctor sọ fún mi pé drug test positive. Cocaine negative, heroin negative, cannabis positive. Stay high pressure, check everything possible. You what think positive? Malo wo rẹ̀ pin, ó lè ṣẹlẹ̀ anytime, ó yẹ kó ní believe.
It's the end of the month and the weekend. I'ma spend this track, everything on me, yeah. I'ma tip myself, I'ma spend it on myself. I'ma drop it like it's pouring, I'ma pour it on myself. Check the money making bank account number. That's that shit that's never getting bounced on your bitch. I do the money dance, I just made 100 bands. When the stars say sign for it, I'ma leave my autograph. Dollar bills, watch it falling for me. I love the way that feels. Dollar bills, keep on falling for me. I love the way it feels. I came here to drop some money, dropping all my money. Drop some money, all this stuff so yummy, yeah. Twerking, when I buy the things I like. Dollars dropping on my ass tonight. Everyone silent, listen to my money talk. Spend how I like it. Yeah, everyone know what I mean. When it's a green, that mean go. Give me what the hell I want. Give me what the hell I want. Check the money making bank account number. That's that shit that's never getting bounced on your bitch. I do the money dance, I just made 100 bands. When the stars say sign for it, I'ma leave my autograph. Dollar bills, watch it falling for me. I love the way that feels. Dollar bills, keep on falling for me. I love the way it feels. I came here to drop some money, dropping all my money. Drop some money, all this stuff so yummy, yeah. Twerking, when I buy the things I like. Dollars dropping on my ass tonight.
Drop some money, dropping all my money. Drop some money, all this stuff so yummy, yeah.
Drop some money, dropping all my money. Drop some money, all this stuff so yummy, yeah. My money moves, money I choose. Sleeve my shoes, walking on you. My money rules, my money moves, money I choose. Watch all my wars and years and dollars be dropping on you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Just send the chat so you can hear me. Yes. I don't know who's using my boss's face. Yeah, somebody basically logged in using my boss's face, yellow man. All right, so good afternoon, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Power BI case studies. This is going to be our third session this year. We started first, I think, in August or September. I've basically gone through one case study basically, but with two different approaches. So today is an opportunity to see a different case study. And today's case study is going to be about surveys data. So most times, many people find it very difficult to analyze surveys because, you know, it's not the typical thing that we get to do every time. It's not what we typically analyze every now and then. So it has its own intricacies, basically. Right, so I'm going to share the data shortly so that at least we can basically start together on the same page and be able to flow with it. For those who are going to try to practice with us, along with us, so you can have what we'll be working with. So in the meantime, I'll just unmute everyone so that, you know, I'll give you opportunity to unmute yourself so that you can say hello to the house. You have some old friends that you can see in the room. You can say hello to everybody, basically. So let's chip in. Chorus answers. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hola.
Yes. All right. So I'll share my screen shortly. And because this is a case study, basically, this is not Ahmed teaching you how to use Power BI. We are basically together as a group. We are all consultants now, and we'll all be chipping in our own inputs as to how we should approach this. I can basically just provide us with a guide. So we're supposed to run this for anything between 2 to 3 hours, but I think 2 hours is good enough. Anywhere we stop in 2 hours, we can basically continue this any other time, just like the last one that we had. So please check your chat area right now. I'm going to drop this file in chat. So if you're joining from your computer, then you know you have an opportunity to basically download this file and work with us. But if you have joined from your phone, then you're basically just watching because you can't really practice with us if you've joined from the phone because you can't use Power BI on your phone. So I'm going to share the survey data Excel file. Then I'm also going to share the case study Word document. And if you joined our first session, you know what you're supposed to open first, right? Can anyone remember what you should open first from the first session? The data or the case study in Word document? What should you open up first?
I would suggest it's the Word document.
Correct. Even though you were not in
need
the
to
other,
understand.
even though Bright was not in the other class, Emmanuel, I'm not sure if Emmanuel, I don't know which Emmanuel B is this. I've actually had 3 Emmanuel Basses in my classes, basically. I don't know which one of them is this Emmanuel B, but as you know, the first thing you want to do is look at the case study, you look at the data, it's done, right? And there are obvious reasons for that because you don't want to cloud your judgment. You want to start working with your brain first. You want to think about the outputs of what is required first before you look at the data. All right. So I've shared that Word document file. I'm going to share again, just in case you are just joining or you couldn't pick that up. So I'll share Word document and Excel file. So I'll share the Excel first, but know that you're not to open that first. So Excel shared. Now, MS Word, make sure you pick it up. What's the title of this file again? Customer survey case study. All right, so I'll just basically quickly launch my Power BI and I'll also quickly launch my my documents, Excel and MS Word as well. Then we can basically continue from there. So, but in the meantime, has anyone worked with survey data in Power BI before now? Like one, or have you seen one and you didn't like, or you were unable to proceed with the analysis or something? Any challenges you faced? Anyone? Now let's open up data. Okay. What do we have? Nobody has worked with survey data before, right? So it's going to be the first time. Okay. Emmanuel, try as much as possible to avoid it. Maybe. Please, who is using David Brown's face? Olorun Toba Fashakin. You are using David Brown's face. Are you trying to scare me? That's my boss.
Let's talk about that.
Are you trying to scare me like my boss in the meeting, right?
No, no at all.
All right, no, just kidding.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I think I have my two files opened, and I'll just share my screen. Okay. All right, so just before I proceed to show you the files, Power BI case studies, this is October. Are we in October? I want to be sure we're in October, right? So October version, and we're analyzing survey data, and we'll see what that entails in a bit. I'm Ahmed Oyelowo, Microsoft MVP for data platform. I'm also a Microsoft certified trainer and a Microsoft certified educator and managing partner for Foresight BI and Analytics Global Solutions. So what do we do at Foresight BI? Basically, we provide consulting and training services for companies and mostly in the business of Power BI and every other related Microsoft tool. And we'll also have, we have this training running live on YouTube right now. So that basically serves as the recorded version. You can always play it back if you miss any part of this. So now going into our case study, we are looking at the customer surveys, and what we have as requirements basically is I'll just quickly read out what it is and highlight the areas we need to really focus on. So it's fictitious, basically. The story is fictitious. The data is also a little bit fictitious, but it's a real life problem, right? It's not like a created problem. This is real life problem that will only just anonymize the data set. And that's the whole essence of these case studies. So it's not made up, right? So CS Associates is a consulting firm basically in the customer service industry. They've carried out a survey and surveyed customers, basically trying to understand what are the services or what are the likely things that can play out for customers to say, I'm no longer banking with you, right? So they're asking certain questions and they want the customers to rank their answers, like which of these options is most likely for you to say you are no longer banking with your bank, and then which option is next, and so on and so forth. Okay, so currently they've used a survey tool. It could have been any survey tool, really. It could have been Microsoft Forms, it could have been Google Forms, it could have been Survey Monkey or whatever it is. They have probably used one of those tools and they are facing a couple of challenges, right? And their major challenges right now is that, first of all, their survey tool has provided them with a dashboard, and this dashboard has given them some insights into the demographics of the responses in terms of how many people answered, how many percentage of people that answered are male, how many are female, and so on and so forth. They have that from their survey tool. However, they have one particular problem. The main opinion that they are trying to sample from people, the dashboard or the report for that has not been provided by their survey tool, which means they are really handicapped. Therefore, they need your help. They need our help to use Power BI to help them to basically create reports in Power BI that is going to be interactive enough, unlike what their survey tool has given them, which is basically just demography that you can't really interact with for you to get more insights. At the same time, the survey tool also did not provide any meaningful report with regards to the main opinion that they are sampling. Remember what that main opinion is, right? What would make you say you want to leave your bank, right? You are going to rank them in terms of what do you think is most important reason why you say, if this thing happens, I'll most likely leave, or if this other thing happens, I'll most likely leave. Now, that's the requirement that we need to work with. The next thing now is for us to look at the data itself and see how we can use the data to answer this question. So if I go to my Excel data file now, this is the data provided in Excel. And just like I said, because we're a consulting team, all of us in here right now, we all belong to the same consulting team. We are all analysts. We know how to use Power BI. We know how to use many of these tools. So these are the responses that have been gathered from participants. Let's first of all try to understand every column. You know, I always say that the first thing you do to understand your data basically is to provide a meaning for every column, right? So you want to provide a meaning for every column. You want to understand what each column of your data basically represents. Some of them are going to be straightforward, some are not going to be straightforward, right? So if we start to go through them right now, age bracket is almost straightforward because I can see what is it. It basically records the age ranges of the respondents. I have their gender, I have their employment status, and then I have the employment category, okay? So at this point, age bracket, for example, you know, it has to do with where do you fall, right? Then gender also falls predominantly here into two genders. Now we have employment status. You may want to understand better. What do you mean by employment status? If I check on the drop-down employment status, I can see that, okay, according to the options provided, we have 3 options to choose from. You can choose that you are employed, you are self-employed, or you are unemployed. Then we now have employment category, where we have, artisans, civil servants, private sector, retirees, and students as well. Then we have location. So you may want to find out, so which locations are these people from? Are they from 36 states of Nigeria, or they are just from many of the states in Nigeria? You see quite a number of states are covered here. Then you have your account balance ranges. And then we have right here what I think is the main opinion that they are surveying, which is rank possible reasons you may stop using your banker. Okay, now if I try to find out again by using this drop down to see what are the possible answers, then you see that we have quite a number of answers. Now at this point, I would like to ask the house, what do you think is happening right here? Can you explain this data now? This column, like I said, always try to understand every column. You should be able to provide a response. You'll be able to define the purpose of each column in your data. Now, at this point now, rank possible reasons you may stop using your banker. Can you look at this column and explain to me what it means? Like, how do I understand the data? Yeah, somebody says responses are concatenated. You are correct. Responses are concatenated. Yeah, that's the first thing you see. I want more answers. Like, how can you explain?
Can we speak? Can we speak?
Yeah, you can speak.
Okay. I think this column is having too many information added together in just one column. The answers are too many. So what I'm thinking is that they're trying to get different answers based on, okay, the ranking. The rankings are different. So what I'm thinking is that for us to make sense of this column, we need to break it down. There are different aspects here for the first observation, and that's the first row. If we look critically at it, we have something about customer service, the process, security concerns, and this can be divided. We look through and we make sure that, okay, they're actually taking the same number of values combined, then I think we can split the column into these different categories. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can kind of break it down into 5 because they are looking at 5 things, 5 specific things from these the reasons. So I think that's what I would just give it.
That's correct.
Hello,
That's
Mr.
correct.
Ahmed.
But you know, I score my things, right? So you have 99.8%. I need a 100% answer. Yes, please.
Hello, Mr. Ahmed.
Yes, please. Who's speaking?
Yeah, Kukwala on the line.
Yes, Professor Kukwala. Yes.
Yes. As for me, I tried to work on it yesterday, that particular column, and I was able to deduce that we have 5 responses, possible responses under that section.
Correct.
And I tried to, to split the column. So it was split into 5 columns. So, and from there, I now got to know that each of those ranking, there's somebody that is speaking, that's ranking an item as 1. There's another person that is ranking an item as 2. So each of the comma represent the first comma represent the first ranking that I have rated for, like a row 2 now, that I have rated for customer services as number 1 out of the 5 possible responses. Then I now go to the second one, which is a bad process. It's a second ranking, and it goes like that.
Absolutely correct. So that's the 100% of the answer I needed, right? So basically, if we try to explain this column now, we know this column is for ranking the reasons why you may stop using your banker. You have 5 options to rank from. You choose first. The first most important reason why you may want to leave. That's what basically they've entered first. Like the first person now will leave mostly because of poor customer services. Okay, like that's the most important reason why I may leave if customer services is poor, followed by bad processes, followed by security concerns. So in terms of my own opinion, if I want to rank these options for leaving my banker, I would leave first because of poor customer service. That's the most important thing to me, followed by bad processes, followed by concerns, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, yeah, Bilkisu, please go ahead, please.
Okay. I want to kind of get into the answer that you gave 100%. One thing is this: you specifically said that, okay, we should look at the documentation. That's the case study.
Yes.
Okay. In the case study, there is nothing like this is the sequence of the answers based on this column. So I don't know how you got to know that, okay, this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 3. Because this is kind of looking like an assumption for me.
You are correct. You are correct. You are absolutely correct. Okay. So the 0.1% I didn't add for you before, I'll add it now, right? So let me tell you why.
Yay, thank you.
So this is why you're absolutely correct. And, if you're in the first class as well, the way I explain it is, before you work on any case study first, the first thing is get the requirements. After you get the requirements, look at the data and make sense of it yourself, right? Now, after making sense of the data yourself, then you ask for clarification. That's when you now confirm things. Can you confirm this? Can you confirm this? Can you confirm this? Right? So all that have to come after you have looked at the data yourself. So in this case now, me and Popola are on the same page right now. Okay, our team now, all of us together now, this is what we think it is. Then we'll now go back to client and say, clients, can you confirm that this is what this means? Are you saying that the first reason we see is carries the highest ranking as per what makes a customer to want to leave? They will confirm that. Okay, now let's just assume that I'll send that email right now and we have agreed. Okay, but the first thing is you have to try to make sense of it yourself first and come and deduce something from it and try to, confirm that. That's always the first thing, right? So you are absolutely correct. Popola is also correct. And we've sent an email and they've agreed that our, what do you call it now? They've agreed that our deduction, if there's anything like that, is correct. Because if you're actually ranking reasons, and you provided your responses with commas like this, if it is ranking, it has to be sorted in a way. If it is ranking, it needs to be sorted in a way. It could be from the right, it could be from the left, but there has to be some sort of sorting to it, because you can't just put everything together inside one place like this and say maybe security concerns is the most important thing for this person. So why is it there if it's the most important thing, right? Except the entire survey is invalid. Right? Okay, so this is what we are going to assume. Bilkis, do you still have a question or contribution? I see your hand is still raised. Okay. All right, so that's our first thing. And based on this now, you can understand why, if you look at the case study, you can understand why the client was unable to provide any meaningful reports on that ranking, simply because everything is modeled together. It becomes impossible to do this. You just have to split first, okay? So this is the main bottleneck for them. Then the other columns are just which channel do you consider most efficient, and then how often do you experience. So these are just one-off answers, right? So technically, this is the main problem that we have, okay? So I'm going to connect to Power BI and bring in the data set, and then we'll think about how to proceed with it. So let's see, Power BI, get data, Excel, from survey data. Let's open that. So one of the problems that people have with survey data is because nearly everything contains responses. Like you have to provide an opinion and you need to just answer a couple of questions. It has nothing to do with transactions. And we are mostly used to transactional data, right? So the moment I bring in this data first now, because every column is a text column, I think every column is text. Okay, so every column is a text column, then I don't have any headers right now. So the first thing I'm going to do is, make first row my header. And you guys already understand why you never do what you never load. If I had loaded that data like this, it would have come out wrongly. Then I would have had to come back to Power Query. So transform first, see things for yourself. I'm not going to go to transform and use first row as header. Basic Power Query stuff. Now, the first thing you should try to do for any survey data, my personal recommendation is this. Every row here represents somebody's response, right? To put it another way, every row is a record, right? So assuming you've given people forms to fill now to answer these questions, then each form you bring out to, enter the data is basically a row like this. That's a record, right? So every row represents somebody's response. And if you're working with survey data, first thing you want to do is, label all the responses, meaning that I'm going to add a column that we are going to refer to as an index column now, but we are going to call that column, let's say, response ID, right? So I want to, list all the responses one by one. You are going to see why you need that soon. So come here and create an index column from 1, right? That gives you all your responses like this. And then the next thing is I'm going to carry this column. I'm going to do right click on the column and move it to the beginning. So let's take it to the beginning. Before I take it to the beginning, sorry, I need to change the name from index. I don't like the index name. It's really not descriptive for me. So I'm going to call it response ID. So response ID, right? Then I'm going to move to beginning or beginning. So that's my response ID. I now have a label for every response. There are obvious reasons why you need to do that. Now, let's hope that you understand my reasons for doing this. So first thing, next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to rename this particular query. I'll just call this query, let's call this
Responses.
respondents, is it?
Responses.
Okay, let's call this one respondents. Don't worry. We'll come back to responses. So let's call this respondents. Okay. Now, we have to go back to that problem we need to take care of, which is these possible reasons. Everything is modeled up inside the same column. And we would like to separate things. We want to separate them. However, how we separate is now another question we need to answer. Okay. And how best should I explain this? Eventually, we are going to try to find out, for example, how many people are responding poor customer service as their main reason for leaving, right? How many people are responding bad process as their main reason for leaving? Technically, everything that is inside these answers now. So for example, whether it's poor customer service, whether it is bad processes, whether it is security concerns, they are still supposed to be inside the same column. Do we agree or not?
Please say that again, please.
All right. So what I mean is this. I think I should create a simple data set to show you this. So if I go to home and I go to enter data, I'll just quickly create one tiny data set. So now if I have something like, let's say, yeah, and I have January, I have February, I have March, for example. And then I have my 2019, 2020, and 2021. And for my data, I don't know if this is going to work. This is Power Query. I just have some numbers. It doesn't work. All right. So I have some numbers. Let's just say 10, 10 across. Okay. So you see what I mean now. 10, come on. 10, 10. Then just, I don't want to think too much. That's why I'm just putting 10 across, right? So no time to think. So delete that, okay? So this is a sample table right now. If at the end of the day, I'm going to be comparing January to February and March, or to put it another way, if at the end of the day, I'm going to have to compare my months. Are we following? It means I need to have all of them together in the same column. That's the only way I can compare them and say, I'm comparing months. Right now, they are all different. They are all scattered in different places. But if in my analysis, I'm going to need to compare them with one another side by side, it means I want to compare the months. Maybe I want to see the trend in months. Then each one of these, January, February, and March, actually have to be inside the same column. And that's why we have something called on pivots in Power Query, right? Whereby I can select my year column and I can go to pivot other columns like this. Then I can now have all those my months in a column like this, so that when I now want to create reports, I can easily compare months, right? It means everything that has months should belong to the same column so that I can analyze and compare by months, okay? Now, that's what I'm trying to say when I said that no matter how we try to split this guy now, these possible reasons, no matter how we try to split these possible reasons, we still need to split it in such a way that the answers are still going to, remain in the same column. Which means when we split, we are not splitting into separate columns. We are actually splitting into rows. Are we together? We will split into separate columns. We will split into rows. Technically, we can split into separate columns too. But if we split into separate columns, then that brings us back to before this on pivots, whereby each answer is not going to be separate like this, before we now finally pivot it and come back to, putting it this way. Okay. Are we together? Can I move on? See?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Okay. So we've created a column for our response IDs. I know every response. Now, you know why we have created this column now? Because the moment I split this guy now into different rows, I need to be able to track that it is still the answer for the first person. Make sense? All right?
Yes.
Okay, correct. Now, at this point, based on this requirement, the next thing I'm going to do is, this my respondents now. Before I move on, I will first of all, I will duplicate the query. Hopefully I can explain why I'm duplicating, but let's duplicate first. Let's duplicate this query. Let us have two versions, okay? The first one, we are going to leave it as respondents. The second one, we are going to call responses. The names are too close. I don't really like the fact that they are too close, but let's use it like this for now. So these are the respondents, and this is their responses. So if I go to the respondents, then the only thing I need to have is response ID, what's the person's age, what's this person's gender, what's the employment status, category, residence, account balance. I don't need this one here. This is just the respondent. So I can delete this column, this ranking possible reasons. I don't want it. I don't really need that one there. Then, really, this is supposed to be answers as well, right? This is supposed to be like their responses as well. Everything is still responses technically, but we are trying to find out what's the major factor of this survey. If everything were to be the same thing across board, right? Whereby maybe every answer basically just follows themselves like that. I could have left this one the way it is, but what we're going to do is I'll leave it the way it is. We can try to think about other options. And the reason why I'm leaving it is because I'm just kind of like classifying it as part of the respondent information that I've collected, because you can only provide one answer. You can only provide one answer for each of these questions, okay? So I'm going to leave it like this, right? Now, some surveys would probably have come in this format already, which means you just have which channel do you consider the most efficient? One column. How often do you experience downtime? Another column. Maybe another column will now say maybe another customer service question like what do you like most about your bank? Another one column, which means free. You are free to answer any of the options. Then another column asks another question like that. Those are just straightforward questions. In that case, then a question, a simple question, answers. That's when the problem starts. And that's why I now have to create a different table to manage the fact that for every question like this person is supposed to provide multiple answers for these possible reasons alone, just possible reasons alone. You have multiple answers for it, right? So that's why I'm coming this direction. Okay. Let me see what we have in chats. Okay. All right. So resharing and resharing of the files. All right. So now we've dealt with respondents. I have everything I need to know about every person. The first person, I have everything I need to know about the person except the person's answers. Yeah.
Hello, Ahmed.
Yes,
you are
please.
treating it as being demographic information.
Correct. Statistically, I think statistically correct. I'm not a statistician, but I think maybe that's correct. So respondents, I have
correct.
Okay, thank you. Then I need the responses now. Okay, so for the responses, what I need is, the response ID. I do need that. And the next thing I need is the possible reasons. These two things are all I need. So I select the two of them at the same time, like that, holding control. Then I can right-click on any of these column headers right here and remove all the other columns. So remove other columns. Okay, good. Now the next thing is, let's try to tackle this issue. Okay, let me delete this query first. So now we need to split the answers to go separately. So I can right-click on this column for the answers, do a split column. Of course, my delimiter is comma, which is there already. However, if I say okay like this, I'm going to correct this. If I say okay like this, then you see the split has gone, right? Has gone into different columns like this, right? Need this. I really actually need everything in a single column. Like poor customer service is a reason why I may leave. Another reason why I may leave is security concerns, but they are based on rank. So I need all of these things together inside one place so that I can compare them eventually. Especially, they can't be in different columns. They need to be in the same column. Okay, so that's why I'm not going to try to split it this way. If I split this way, I'm still going to need to do on pivot to bring them back into the same column, which I don't want to do now. So let's.
Sorry, Ahmed. What split method? I think I got lost a little bit. Which way are you advising us not to do it? That's it, what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, so it's not like it's not advisable. It's just so let me splits, and we now end up having 6 columns. I think the last column is some data entry issues, right? Which is.
You're breaking up, Ahmed. I don't know if it's just me, but you're breaking up.
Oh yeah, I can't hear as well.
In fact, it's not just you, it's really bad.
We can only see your mouth moving.
Don't.
I can't hear you, Ahmed.
But can't hear you except you are miming or something, but you can move. I can see your head.
Yeah, we can see your movement.
You're moving more.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, back.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just troubleshooting my mic. Let me go back to that other
Yes,
one.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'll probably just stay on this current microphone now. Okay, so I was saying that I was going to show you the two different options, right? So the first one, I split it into several columns. This last column is invalid, so I delete that one. I don't want this one. Right click and remove. Okay, then I have all my answers into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. Then I'm going to click this and do on pivot columns, which on second thoughts, I think this makes a lot of sense. So, but I'll still show you the other one, right? So this is what I expect us to, this is how I expect it to be, to be placed at the end of the day. So for the first person, response ID 1, the major reason why the person may leave, that the person is ranking first, is poor customer service, right? Then bad processes, security concerns, blah, blah. This is how the person has ranked it from 1 to 5. Okay, so on second thought, this actually makes a lot of sense for us. So let's use this one. Let's use this simple one, right? Don't let me complicate things, because eventually where we need to get to is, now that I have these 3 columns, this column is my response ID. This column now is my ranking column, right? So I can just rename this one and call it ranking, for example. Yeah, I'm always very terrible with names, so just bear with me. So I can call this column ranking, and let's call this column response now. So this is the response, or it can't be response, it can be like possible reason. I don't know. What should we call this? Since we are a team now, so give me the name to use, please.
The response is okay.
This other one can be our ranking. Why the other one can be question?
Call it trigger.
Can you say that again? Trigger, right?
Yeah, trigger.
Okay, so let's use trigger. Let's use trigger. Okay, then you see this ranking column. What really matters to me there is the number, is the numbers. That's what matters to me. What do you rank first? What do you rank second? What do you rank third? So I'm going to keep only the number. So I don't need the text, the long text. Rank possible reasons you may stop, blah, blah, blah. I just want to take advantage of that number. So the first thing you rank is poor customer service, followed by bad processes, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go to my transform yet again in Power Query. And because I just want to keep the text before the number, all right? So what I could do is go to, under my transform tab, I have an extract option there. So I go to the extract option, and I'll say that I want to extract the text after the delimiter. You know what the delimiter is, right? The full stop that is there. I want to extract what is after the full stop. So text after delimiter is what I want. And my delimiter is full stop. I put that full stop there, or dots in this case, or points, and I click OK. That should give me the ranking according to everybody's response. So for response ID 1, poor customer service is the main trigger. Thank you for that. For response ID 2, security concerns is the main trigger. you know, and so on and so forth. Now, what we are trying to do, or what we are going to try to do, what I am recommending that we do is to actually give these guys names. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What do you think? We should give them names like most likely, highly likely, fairly likely, likely, and least likely. But you can help me. Like I said, I'm always terrible with names. So help me what you think we need to give to these people. What do you think?
I think that will do.
Okay. So let's adopt that. But what name are we going to give to it now? What name? Is it scale or something? I don't know. What should we call that new column?
I think
Sorry?
scale works.
Scale works, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do add column as always.
Scale should work.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I said there can always be several ways, always, you know, to achieve the same thing. Like now, it wasn't planned that we go through this method. So the only reason I'm going to show you the second method is because I've done a webinar on index columns before, only index columns, and use case for index columns. So I'm going to borrow one of those use cases and I'm going to run it here. It might be a little bit complicated. That's why I said, let's use this simple one in case this is what works best for you. So I'm going to create another column now. So add column, and the column I'm adding is going to be conditional in nature, right? So that if it is 1, we are going to call it most likely. If it is 2, we are going to call it highly likely, and so on and so forth. So I'm creating a conditional column whereby if what? The column name. Which column now? The ranking column. So I'm saying that if my ranking column equals to 1, then we call it most likely. Else, if the ranking column equals to 2, that should be highly likely. And else, if that same ranking column equals 3, then that should be likely. And if it is 4, the ranking column is 4, then it should be maybe fairly likely. And finally, if it is 5, sorry, I don't actually need this one. I don't need the 5th one. That's actually the last option. So I should use that in my else option. That's the last thing. So that should be least likely. Okay. So we shouldn't try to use not likely. The fact that it is the last one does not mean not likely, because, you know, it's options. What will make you want to leave? So we'll rather use least likely here. So I can click OK. Then I have those things here. And then my data is basically taking shape. And then from here, creating your reports becomes easier, right? All I need to do is, you know, make sure I have correct data types. Yes, please.
Sorry, this column we inserted now, what actually pushed it to that position? Did you choose any, did you choose where it should go to, or is by default it becomes the last?
Correct. Thank you for that, for the question, and thank you for, you know, the modified question. So every time you add a new column in Power Query, it's always go to the end, always, right? And you can always readjust. So you can readjust by right-clicking and using move. So I can move left, right to the beginning or to the end. At the same time, I can also drag. I can drag like this to move, right? You know?
Okay.
Okay. So now what I really want to do is this my ranking. I'm going to try to make it a number. I want to make it a number instead of a text. So I'll change this to whole number, and I'll allow my, I don't know why I left this as custom. Okay. We said we'll call it scale, right? And I'll make this text. So everything looks fine. I think everything looks fine. I think. So I have my responses, I have my respondents. I think I have what I need to proceed as of now. Okay, but before I proceed, please, let's see some other qualitative things that we can add. So for example, I go back to the respondents now. I don't know if this question is too long or it's okay. Which channel do you prefer most efficient? Blah, 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 blah. Which channel do you consider most efficient for resolving what? All right, so let's see what that means. Do this. Scroll down. Which channel do you consider? Okay, how do I get to see this full thing now? Double click. Yeah. So which channel do you consider most efficient for resolving your inquiries and complaints? Maybe we should leave it for now the way it is. The second one is how often do you experience downtime while using your bank's digital platforms? All right, so I think we have what it takes now to proceed to visualization. So right now I can go to home and close and apply. So data is ready for visualization, and technically my team members are ready to work on this technically. All right, so you guys are ready to work on it. I can leave you here. Can I leave you here?
Not new.
I know I can leave you right here and you are going to do just fine. But before that, before I leave you, not like I'm going to leave you, we have two things. We have the respondents and we have the responses, okay? Most of you who have completed Power BI courses already understand that technically I have a dimension and I have a fact. If you haven't gotten to that level in Power BI, just manage with us for now. All you need to understand is this. If I go to my data view inside of Power BI, you see that I have two tables. I have the table for the respondents and I have the table for the responses. Okay, so I have my response ID, the ranking, the trigger, and the scale. How do you rate it? Then I have my respondents data itself. Let me see this. Something looks off here. Okay, one is there, it's just hiding somewhere. Okay, it's just hiding somewhere. So now the question is this: if you go back to, that's for people who haven't gotten to data modeling in Power BI. If you go back to the responses, how do you know who answered this first question? How do you know who answered the first question? That's why we have a response ID there. So I'm going to have to, link this response ID on my responses to the response ID on my respondent, so I can know who answer what question. I can have every detail about the person, because on my responses right now, I just have 4 columns: the response ID, the ranking, the trigger, and the scale. I don't know how old is the person, what's the person's age, what's the person's salary. I don't have that information except I check from the respondent table, right? That's why I have this response ID column, which will take me to my model view, where I need to ensure that the two tables, my respondents and my responses, are linked by the response ID. Let's not forget, survey data, no matter how it looks like, it makes much more sense. It makes it easier for you if you create a column for your response ID to label every response. The reason is because you will most likely have to split certain columns into different rows. Most likely, it's always likely. I wish I had several more examples to show in this class, but I also hope that we can take a part 2 of this as well, just like we did with the first one. So that's my response ID linked to my respondents, so that if I go to my report view, for example, I can start creating visualization that can give me the things I need. Okay.
Ahmed, please,
now,
how do you do the linking?
All right. So the linking basically happened automatically for me with Power BI, because Power BI has found 2 columns on the two tables that have the same names. right? You can find response ID here. I can also find response ID on this side. So it basically links the two of them together automatically, right? So you always have this auto linking for some reasons. Let's take that as the answer for now, without going into further details, okay? So visualization is ready now, but let's go back to requirements. Requirement says, we would like your help to surmount our challenges, which are these guys. Reports are not interactive. They have demography, but it's not interactive. And also to be able to, create meaningful reports from the surveyed opinions. So those are the two things. And that's basically what we can now focus our visualization on. And at this point now, I'm calling all of us to the round table and let's discuss how we proceed about these two things, right? So personally, because it's survey, first of all, you want to understand who is responding to you. You want to have a profile of your respondents. That's like classic thing for surveys. Give me the profile of the people that are responding so that, I can form an opinion and I can understand where they are coming from. And I can also try to address whatever I need to address. That's always the standard, right? Give me the profile of the people that are responding, okay? So we're going to create reports. Personal recommendation from me, I'm going to hear from you guys as well, is that let's first of all create visuals that profiles, the respondents. Like, for example, how many people responded? How many answers did we work with? How many people did we work with? And what's their profile? Who is male? Who is female? How many are male? How many are female? How many are employed? How many are students? How many have account balances over 50 million? And so on and so forth, right? Those are the things we'll try to answer with our demography. And because Power BI is already interactive, so those visuals that we'll create now are not going to be static, because you can easily use it to, you can click on something from one area, for example, and it will show you what it looks like on the other side. So for example, now, if I say 300 people answered this survey, and then I create another visual that shows how many percentage of them are male, how many percentage of them are female, right? Then I create a third visual that is showing, their responses based on their different locations. Because Power BI is interactive, I can easily click on one location, for example, and I would expect to get the gender mix for that location, okay? Instead of having one static location, one static gender mix visual that shows 50% is male, 50% is female. That's for the entire data. Because Power BI is interactive, I can go to click on Lagos and I want to see the mix now as per Lagos alone. So with that now, we would have been able to solve the first problem. If you create a report by demography, they will see everything in their demography, and then with Power BI's natural interactivity, they'll be able to interact and get the more details that they need to see, okay? There is going to be like a call to action for you guys after today's session. So we have 2 hours, which means no time for pretty stuff. We are a team. You are going to help me to come up with the final, very fine, beautiful dashboard and more insights. And there is, there's an announcement I'm going to make after this, basically. So, yeah, let's first of all let's try first to find out what we should try to work with. I'm looking for whiteboard. No whiteboard in sight. But in the meantime, I'm waiting for your direction. What do you think we should do? What opinions do you have for us to proceed with the required?
As you said, I think we should do like an exploratory analysis of the respondents, their profile, based on the different columns that we have.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so that's exactly what I thought as well. That's exactly what I thought. So now, it's always good to to make things very clear, so if you have a pen, you can put this down as well. I'm also going to be writing on whiteboard, and I'm going to be writing on my book as well. So it's easier for me to see what we're working with. So now I think we should have, the first thing we should have is maybe, let's have a quick view of the total number of respondents, right? So let's say total respondents. My handwriting is always very terrible, so focus more on what I say and less on what I say. Then number 2, let's look at data. It's easier that way. So this is our data on respondents that I want to create the profile for. So we are looking at the total numbers first, right? Then let's also see the numbers as well as per the age brackets, okay? Or let's start from the beginning, account balance, right? So how many people from this account balance range? So let's do number 2, number by accounts balance range. Number 3, number by age brackets. Number 4 is what? Employment category. So number by employment category. So sorry, I need to start, using shorthand now. And then employment status, ES. Then number 6, gender, sorry. Number 7, okay. States, I've basically skipped 1, we'll come back to it. Number 7 is states. Number 8 is how often do you experience, I don't know if this one should be here. What do you think? Do you think this should be form part of the profile, or should probably be on a main report? Like this one now. How often do you experience downtime, and which channel do you consider? Should it be part of the profile, or what do you guys think?
Main report, I think.
Main reports.
Okay, so that should probably go to the main report. Now, we have 7 things. We have to decide what comes first. What should come first?
Total response.
Okay, somebody says you can see respondents by dash instead of number. Yes, true. You just have to forgive me. Some people are, some of us like this. We just want to do the Kante job and leave the tappings to the Cristiano Ronaldos. We just want to do Kante. Sorry, CR7 fans. Apologies. So, rough work basically is what I'm running through right now. So, total response should come first. Okay, so let's try to arrange what we think it should look like. We have to plan this. We shouldn't use okay, so total response is the first thing that we are going to do, right? Just a single number inside a card. What should come next after total response? What do you think?
Gender.
Okay, gender should come next. We have just 2 genders, male and female. If gender is coming next, how do you think we should display it?
We do gender by age together.
Pie charts. I mean visual.
Yes.
What chart should we use?
Pie charts.
Pie charts. Okay. Me, I don't like pie.
Donut.
I like donuts that has toothpaste inside. That red one. So we'll do gender next. What do you think should come after gender?
Age.
Location, state.
States.
States.
I think number by age.
Age should come next, right? Let's think about it. I think age should be next. What do you think? Gender, then age.
Yeah.
Okay. And what should we use for that? Age ranges. We have, let's check the age ranges that we have. So age ranges, where is age range? Age brackets. We have 4 of them, 18 to 24, 25 to 40, 41, blah, 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 57, and 4 of them. What chart do you think we should use to show that?
Donut.
Another donut.
Bar.
You like donuts?
Exactly. Bar.
Let's use column chart for that, right? Let's use this one. Let's use column chart, right? So this is age. What should come next?
Of course, that will be state.
State should come next.
You
think so?
Employment category, I think.
Yeah, I think in order of importance, where they are coming from should probably come last. Based on what I'm seeing here, I think.
Employment category.
Okay, so let's go with the employment category. Category first before status or what? Let's see it first. On the data, employment status. Are you employed or not? Right? Then your category. So what should come first? Status before category. Okay.
Status.
Yeah. So an employment status, we have 3 values. What should we use to show the status?
Column chart. Column chart.
Column charts. Okay. I need another opinion. I'll tell you why I need an opinion. I'll tell you why later. Okay. Column charts.
Let's just do not of pie.
Pie chart.
Please. If you pay me money, I will not use pie charts. Even if you pay me, I won't use pie chart.
Why?
Except you credit. If it's my first bank, account, I can accept it.
Why?
Don't worry, we can't talk about it here.
You said you always ask why.
I know. Okay, so we are talking about what now? We're talking about what now? What are we talking about? Employment status, where we have 3 values. We have 3 values.
Start bar charts. Is that something?
Let me veto donuts. Should I veto donuts? Yeah, let me veto donuts. Okay, it's close enough to pie. This is employment status. And then we have our employment category now next, whereby we have how many values for employment category? We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So please, we probably don't want to think about donut or pie chart now. We have 5 values. Okay, let's not think about it. It's not going to display very well. It will be too much to see in the circle. So let's go with something else.
Tree map.
Tree map. Okay, maybe tree map. We'll change it later. Okay, and this is what? Employment category. So EC. Then what's the next thing? What have we not talked about?
State.
Which one?
Age and account balance.
No, we've talked about age.
State.
Oh, yeah.
State
Yeah,
and account balance. Yeah, so state and account balance. So account balances, it's just ranges like this. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plenty of them, right? What should we use?
Can we use a histogram?
Try that one.
I should do what?
You decide that one. Use your veto.
Right, so I veto bar chart. I veto bar chart. Yes. I would have vetoed it anyway. If you had chosen something different, I would have vetoed it for certain reasons. And then, okay, so we said these other 2, we want to leave them the way they are. So the next thing is, what's the last one? Location. So location is the last one. And, what are we using for location?
Can we use a map? No.
Okay, we'll try to use map first. We'll try to use a map, sorry. Location, okay, it's called states, okay? All right, so technically, we've agreed on how to visualize or how we are going to visualize the demography. But before
Sorry,
we
just
proceed,
before you go on.
yes, yes.
Sorry, is this a rule of thumb? How am I hearing myself? Is it a rule of thumb to do this sketch usually before you start your dashboard?
Yes, yes. It makes your life easier.
Okay.
It makes your life way easier if you do this first. So you know what you're working towards. And it also means that you're actually not doing trial and error. You're not just creating things based on, impulse. There has to be a reason why you are using the charts you are using, right? So now I was going to talk about something. In most cases, when you're analyzing surveys like this, in most cases, the first number that we are getting from our demography in terms of the profile is the total number of respondents, which is going to give us an absolute value, like 500, 700, 900, and so on and so forth. Naturally, every other thing should be in percentages, or we make more sense as percentages. Who agrees?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Okay, so our first number.
Yeah, statistically, sir.
Okay.
Statistically, sir. Yeah, we make number and we put it into parentheses.
I didn't get that.
Sorry, sir. We write number, maybe it is 25, and that is I put that in parentheses, in bracket.
Okay, I get what you're trying to say. It's probably to show the two, right? Like we need to display both of them, which may be good as well, but it's not a but. More or less like, also, I think that if you want to understand your respondents better, think about storytelling now. Think about storytelling. I'm sampling 300 people. I'm sampling 300 people, okay? Does it make more sense to say 180 are male and 120 are female? Does that make more sense, or does it make more sense to say 60% are male, 40% are female? Storytelling wise, I'm sampling 300 people. Should I say 60% is male, 40% is female? Or should I say 160 is male, 140 is female? What do you think,
Percentage.
Ahmed, percentage is better.
Give better description.
Yes, but provided you have a place where you indicate that population is 300.
Correct.
Yes. So immediately the population is 300, and you now put a percentage of representation. It's easy to work back. Assuming I want to work back to get my
correct. Correct. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I like this thing. So that's that's where we are trying to go to now, so that we will know how we basically want to visualize these things. Okay. So for example, now your donut charts will naturally try to show you in ratios, in percentages. But you see those your column charts, your bar charts, they are not likely to show you in percentages. So you need to know that when you are working with them, you need to show them in percentages as well, to tell a better story. So I'm sorry, but because of time, I don't know, because of time, there won't be time to do anything fancy or pretty. That's for you to do. So we'll just basically create this and see processes. All right. Yeah, recording is going to be available. So back to Power BI. Okay, now I would also like us to understand something as well. The reason why I was asking what comes first is also for you to understand that we are basically trying to tell a story. And if you are telling a story, no matter how you watch a movie is like a story. They have to start from somewhere and progress from there. The same thing if you are reading a book. You start from somewhere and then you progress from there. The same thing when you visualize data. You start from somewhere and then you progress from there. That's why we had to arrange. We don't just say, we do this report, this report, this report. We have to think about what comes first, what goes with the story better. And thankfully enough, this makes a lot of sense, because when we understand the total number of people, we first of all try first. Let's diverse now into the agenda. And then after going to the gender, we now say, okay, let's now look at their age brackets. Okay. Now, for me personally, I may not implement this now, but I'm trying to give you insights as to how you may classify this for storytelling purposes. For me now, I can call these two things, I can call these two guys maybe personality, for example, right? This is like personality of the guys. Then we have employment status, we have employment category. This is account balance. This is like, I didn't name this. So this is like balances. These are account balances. For me, these guys is, to me, status of the person. And I don't know if this guy should stay alone or if I can refer to it as personality. Technically, this cannot be personality now. Where you stay is not your person. What is your person is your gender and your age. So let's ignore that one. So this is on its own. This is just a location as per its own. This is just for the storytelling purposes, so that when you are creating your reports, eventually you can factor these things in and know how to graphically present it to make more sense, to tell better stories. Okay, we're not going to have time for that today. So let's start visualizing quickly. Really, this is, for me, it's really not necessary because they are kind of like straight visuals, but since we still have time. So the first one, we are going to use a card visual. I won't bother about titles right now. Yeah, so just use a card visual like that, and I'm trying to count the number of participants, number of respondents. Really, I can use any of these guys, because if I go to my data view, the number of people is the number of respondents. The number of respondents is the number of respondents, right? Which is what you see on right here, 262 rows. Can you see this place I circle here? You see that, right? That's the number of respondents, 262 rows of data. So technically, I can decide to count any column here to give me the number of respondents. I can count any column. So if I go to my visualization like this, I can just, I can just pick any column here to count under my respondents, as long as I get 262. So, but I will still try to allow it to make sense. So I'll basically just carry response ID to use, but really I can use anyone. So if I put response ID on this visual, luckily enough, is already counting for me, count of response ID, which to me doesn't make too much sense. I'll just change that to number of respondents. And technically, if you want to go storytelling, if you want to really go storytelling, then this is my card visual. I will just, remove the category label, this one. That's that. I don't want to see that one. Instead, I will put on the title, right? And then I can put something like how many people took the survey, storytelling, and then increase that text size 25, and maybe centralize, maybe, I'm not really ready for the fancy things here. I just want to put a background color of something like that, and maybe a white text. Okay, so how many people took the survey? 262. Then let's make this one, let's give it a shadow. You know why? You know why now? Because I just like shadow. That's the only reason why. There's really no real reason for that. So let me create more space here. Okay, so I'm trying to create seven different charts. We'll come back to try to arrange them later, but let's just get into the gift of what we want to work with. So how many people took the survey? 262. Then the next thing is gender. I want to use donut charts. So I pick my donut charts, and I want to use this donut now based on the gender. So I want to see male and female, right? Male and female on one side. Then count the number of male and count the number of female so that you can
Ahmed, sorry. Ahmed, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was just now I knew that you brought the chart from this side. So the first one, I thought it magically came up on its own. What chart type did you choose for the first one?
Okay, so the first one I use card, the one that has 1, 2, 3.
Okay, why?
Because I just want to show one number. Just show me a number. I'm not looking at a chart like pattern. I just want to see a number.
So assuming what you want to write is alphabetic, so would you have chosen same card? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Thanks for that. So use a card viewer to display one thing. So now I want to see the gender, I don't know which name to use now, but I just want to see the response by gender. So, and we are using donut charts, and I'm just trying to explain my thinking to you now, which means at the end of the day, I need male and female, two things. Okay. Then under male, I want to count the number of males. Under females, I want to count the number of female. Right? So my gender now, if I put gender on this place, it goes into legend. Then the same gender. Now I have male and female now. The next thing is to count them. Count the number of males, count the number of females. So I'll basically use gender again in my values. So I have the count and I have my donut. Okay. Let's try to make these formats the same thing. Now this one is supposed to be what now? What should be the correct title for the story for storytelling purposes?
Response based on gender.
Okay. Thank you.
Response by gender.
Thank you. So let's go to title and use on second thoughts. Can we get anything better for storytelling?
Respondents by gender.
Yes, respondents by gender. Let's use this too. Let's find out now. Respondents by gender. Okay. Or second one, how
genders responded.
How the genders responded. Is that sorry, English is failing me, but like we said, we won't focus on that now. You can think about that later. So let's use respondents by gender. No, survey. What's the response?
Responded.
I don't know.
Which gender responded the most?
Sorry. Respondents by gender. You get my idea for the first one. How you try to structure it, but really in real reporting, you want to, in real storytelling reporting, you want to think about your titles carefully. Okay. So, but for now, this is a case study. But you understand where I'm trying to go to. So respondents by gender, we can have it anyhow we like it, except that maybe, design-wise, so many things to consider. Right now, I'm just going to try to factor in is okay, it's already there already, but we could as well, remove the legend. We'll remove the legend like this and go to our detail label and maybe show everything. So I can see male. 58% female that, right? So I'm just going to try to increase the text size to maybe 12 or something. Okay, then decimal places 0 is okay. I don't need 58.1 or 42 point something. So that's number 2. Number 3, age brackets. Now we are using a column chart. So I bring up my column charts right here, and I bring in the age brackets as my axis, and the same age bracket is what I need to count. So for each age bracket, I have 18 to 24, I have 25 to 40, blah, blah, blah. Next thing, count. This 18 to 24, how many are they? So I'm still going to count the same age bracket is what I have on my values for counting. And okay, copy formats. Formats and paste. Okay, so this one we are going to call, I'll just use plain names now. So response by age brackets. So go to my title, and use response by age brackets. Okay, design wise, please leave design for a design class. Maybe we'll have one case study for designs. So, but still, I will still take care of the very basics, which is, for example, now this needs to be arranged properly. Currently, it's arranging from the highest to the lowest. I don't think that makes sense. So I can click on more option here and change the sort by. It's currently sorting by the number, which is what you see here, count of age bracket. I want it to sort by the age bracket itself. Okay.
Why not
now
say
sorting?
age range?
Sorry?
Why not say age range instead of age bracket?
I think brackets.
Or because bracket is in the data set?
No. Okay, bracket. No, that's really not why. I think bracket probably, you know, speaks more to me. Like, which bracket do you want? Which brackets? If it's age, I think brackets, you know, speaks more to me.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
I think bracket is better.
Okay. So I was sorting by age brackets. Then I need to change the sort now because right now the highest age is showing first. I need the lowest age to show first. So I will change my sort order now to ascending. Okay. So it's now sorting ascending, which makes sense distribution wise because you can see where most of our respondents are, isn't it? Right? So that's number 3. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 is employment status.
Ahmed, sorry,
can
you attach percentage to that table?
Thank you.
Assuming what 25 to 40 seem to be the highest respondents, but how many percent are they to that total? At least we know that we have 260 something people. So what percentage of those human beings fall into this? Because it still doesn't make a lot of sense to me now, since I cannot tie it to percentage of.
You're right. You're absolutely correct, which is part of what we actually planned. And for some reason, I forgot because why? Because we have 15 minutes more. So, like I said, I'll still take care of the basics. So, for example, nobody really needs this title. It's useless, right? So I'll go to my y-axis and kill off the title that is there. In fact, based on the current suggestion, I may as well just remove y-axis entirely, while I kill off the title on my x-axis. Okay, you know, we can always come back to talk about design issues, which is not what we are here for today. All I need to do is this, my values now, count of age bracket. It's currently counting it, give me the count. I'm going to change it from count to show value as percentage of grand total. Okay, so it's now percentage of grand total. Then I can now put on my data labels so that I can see it. I can see it, right? So that's my data label. And like I said, I don't care about the decimal points. So on my data labels, I'm going to change the decimal places to 0. Okay. Thank you for that. So more than half basically is within these age brackets, which is correct, which is what we should expect, depending on who you sample. If you go to Unilag to sample, you know it's not going to be here. It's not going to be. If you go to Akoka area to sample, this is not what you have. So, but that's our first three. Number 4 is employment status. I'm not going to waste time. I'll just copy this one, Control C, Control V, bring that one here, and remove gender and put employment status. Then remove this gender again and put employment status, right? So most of the respondents are employed. That's number, how many now? Number this. Then the next one is—
You need to change the title. You need to change the title.
Hey, correct. Thank you. So respondents, response, I don't know. Respondents by gender.
Employment status of respondents.
Okay. Employment status of respondents. Okay, so now, you know, these are things that we'll manage at the end of the day. How we arrange the designs and everything, UI, UX kind of things, come back to. See, it's giving us problems. Then we have employment category, the same thing, Control C, Control V, bring that here, and remove this one, use employment category on my values, remove the legend, and use employment category, except what? I made a mistake. You see why I said won't use donut chart for that one, right? Because see now, see what it looks like. Because there are too many categories. Just looks funny. It doesn't make sense anymore. And someone suggested that we use a tree map, which looks like this. It's not completely different from that one because I can't really see much. The only thing I see is most of my respondents, like a big portion of them, are in private sector. So let someone veto this for us.
Hi, Ahmed. I have an observation.
Okay.
Okay, looking at this visualization, this page, basically what we're trying, the story we're trying to tell is we're trying to give insight into a bit of information about the respondents. So we already started with how many people took the survey. So I'm thinking, do we really need to always put respondents by this, employment status by respondents? It's like we just keep saying the same thing. We already know that this
like, I agree with you. Like, I mean, I will never name my table.
I can just do this. Just put gender distribution, employment status. That's all. It's simple. It's fine. It's direct. I mean, it's we don't have to put respondents and everything.
Yeah, right. You're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You know, that's what I was trying to think of. But even though we are saying gender distribution too, yeah. So how many people who took the survey? 262. Gender distribution. We naturally, storytelling, you want to have a connection. You want someone to read this page with a connection. So if I say how many people took the survey? 262. I now say, even if I say responded by gender, this, that, you see, the connection has broken from how many people took the survey. That's why I was trying to think about, you know, the correct title to use, whereby you can see connect back. So if you start with how many people took the survey, 262, then you want to connect next to, you know, of which the clinical something is blah, blah, blah. You know, that kind of title is what we need to have, but we really don't have time to think about titles right now. Neither do we have time for, you know, the proper designs as well. That's why, you know, I said earlier that I think I could actually leave you where we were because, you know, from preparing the data, visualizing is kind of like straightforward. And like I said, I have an announcement for you after today's session. Maiwa, please, you can ask your question. Mayor. Okay. All right, so respondent, making everything look funny. Yes?
I just made a comment. I don't know. Is it my mind you're referring to?
Okay. Yeah, I saw your hand raised. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Sorry.
okay.
It's a legacy.
So, title-wise, so many things. Let me just see what we can show, employment category. I vetoed this like this. And let me just copy this format so that it can be as percentage of grand total and it can off what needs to be off. But still not percentage of grand total. So sorry, that has to be here. Show value as percentage of grand total. That one shows, most people is private sector. Then you have accounts, balances. Now we have shortage of space, but we still need to have everything here. But you guys understand what I'm going to. You'll have time to arrange everything properly later on. So just do, where is that one again? So we are using what? We're using a bar chart. So use a bar chart, assume that we have done it. We move on. The last one is what? States, which you want to use a map for. Okay. So if you use a map like this and you bring in states, where is states? States.
Resident state, come down.
Okay, resident states is the location. The same thing is what we are trying to count on size. So go to size and put it there. Okay, so you can see which states they are from. If you always want to see clearly, you can always, go to focus mode of the visual like this, and you are going to see where your respondents are from, scattered all over Nigeria. I think that if we change this to a field map, there are different types of map in Power BI. If we use a field map like this, then, I think this is taking us to a better place, because easily we can see where responses are not from. Do you understand? We can see where we don't have responses from, like this. No Sokoto, no Kano, no Meduguri, no Lokoja, and so on and so forth. Okay, we have time in Abuja. So I just need to come to format this data colors, and if you use a field map, you always need to use conditional formatting, FX, so that you can, put your colors into ranges. So if I click on this, so FX, and I'll just try to use, two separate colors to make it easier for us to see. Let's use colors between green and deep blue like that, and click OK. Right? So you can see that Lagos is where most of respondents are from, and then you have tiny bits like that in some of the other states. Most people are, especially those northern areas, are just one people, right? Here you have 14 people in Abuja. So probably leave it like that for now. You can add a zoom button, map controls, zoom button, you can add that so that you can zoom in the map. So basically, you would have done demography. I can leave that to you to complete on the announcements I'm going to have at the end of today's class. But I'll just create one more visual basically so that the purpose of the announcement can be met, right? So maybe this is demography, for example. This is like demography. Then the main reports, basically. We'll have to do something. We need to, if you want to see everything in one single picture, surveys are the perfect example of the places where you make use of 100% stacked bar charts. Okay, so if I use this 100% stacked bar chart, for example, I can say that I want to see on my axis the different questions, right? The different questions like, the different answers rather than the question. That scale, if I put the scale on the axis like this, and then I'm also going to count the scale, for example, on my values, right? So I can see fairly likely, highly likely, least likely, likely, and most likely. Okay, the next thing now is how have they answered this? Out of this 100%, how have they answered according to the trigger? You know, or yeah, so let's try that. We can still, change this later. Let's put trigger on legend now, and let's decide which of these visuals make more sense. We'll come back to this in a bit. Between this one and the one where we change it, we use the other way. Okay. So let me just data labels on first so that you can see the percentages on each one. Then for the second one now, I want to put the trigger first. So I'm basically analyzing each of the triggers: bad processes, delays in transaction, frequent cash outs, poor customer service, security concerns. Then I want to find out how did they rate them. That is my legend now. So I think this one should have trigger here. Okay, and put on data labels. So let's just look at these two and try to find out which one do you think makes more sense. So on the first one, for example, if I zoom to focus more to see it, right? So if we check most likely, what customers chose to be, or what most people chose basically as the most likely reason for them to leave is poor customer services, because that's the one that has 30%. Okay, so this is one way that you may want to visualize this. And if you look at least likely, for example, least likely, you see that people are not really concerned about frequent cash outs. See, frequent cash outs, 72% of people don't really care about frequent cash outs, right? Highly likely, the same poor customer service is the one that is also highly likely. So it seems like customer service is a big deal here. And guess what? This is actually the smallest rank on least likely. The same poor customer service, right? So people really care about customer service a lot. Okay. Now, that's one view. That's one way to see it. The other way to see it, like if you are looking for a single picture to summarize everything, is what I'm trying to show now. Summarize the responses. The second one is, let's clear this drawing first. Clear all drawings. The second one is this other one now, whereby you are looking at the triggers now, the triggers. So for bad processes, for example, for bad processes, then we are saying that, okay, for bad processes, only 19, most likely, the pink one is the most likely. So only 19% are willing to leave because of bad processes. That's like one of the smallest ones, right? For delays in transaction completion, in fact, 24% are going to leave the bank if there's a delay in transaction completion. That's their, most likely is what we are looking at. Most likely is what we are looking at. So we are focusing on this one now. This one, okay? So most likely, 90% for bad processes, 26% for delays in transaction, frequent cash out at ATM accounts for little or no percentage. They won't leave because of that one. Poor customer services is accounting for 30% here, and then security concerns for 21%. So my question is, which one do you think should go as the most revealing chart out of these two?
The first
I
one.
think personally I'll go for the first one because it
Yeah.
sort of helps managers make an easy decision.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, one more thing on this first one is this. I'm going to go back to my data view and go to my responses. I need it to arrange according to the ranking so that I can see my most likely at the top, followed by highly likely, followed by least likely. I need to see the arrangement. So I'll come to my data view, select this scale and sort by my ranking. So I want to sort the scale by this ranking. Okay. So sort by ranking. Oh, sorry. I need to sort scale by ranking and not the other way. So sort the scale by ranking so that if I go to my visual now, you know, I can now see it like that: most likely, highly likely, likely, fairly likely, and least likely. And this way, it's easier to see how your people have basically responded to each of the questions according to the triggers.
Hi,
So,
Ahmed.
hello.
I kind of have a contrary view to that. I
Okay.
feel second chart actually is easier for me to make a decision because I can look at the various pain points, right? And I can easily tell from the second one which is the major. If I want to rank them to say, okay, poor customer services actually have the highest number of most likely. So by 30%, I consider that's the highest, and I can easily rank it and say, okay, I need to deal with customer service first, followed by delay in transaction completion, then followed by security concerns. So it's easy for me without circling or doing anything. I can easily just make that decision in spot check, make a spot check decision in a couple of seconds by looking at this. It's very, very
You know
easy.
why that one is easier for you to look at now? After sorting that column. You know, before it wasn't showing like this. The most likely was showing as last before. But now that we have, you know, arranged it from most likely to highly likely to fairly and to least likely now, it now basically gives this view also a better explanation as well, because you can basically see it across board. So I can look at all my most likely together now, and I can see poor customer service is the most likely reason, followed by delays in transaction completion. That's the next thing. And then security concerns, and then bad processes. And then for least likely, cash out at ATM. There's nothing we can do about that. There will always be cash out at ATMs. If I leave your bank because there's cash out at the ATM, maybe the next bank will always also have cash out at the ATMs as well. So you see that people don't really care about that, right? And then the next one that carries big chunk of, you know, where people don't really care about it is delays in transaction, only 10%, followed by security concern. But you can see that the bulk of least likely is on cash out at ATMs. So before I take questions, let me just quickly let you know what the call to action is for this. The call to action is that, can we get you, okay, let me rewind a little bit. So at the end of the day, you are going to need to have some kind of portfolio. Like, not that you are going to need, but you may want to have some kind of portfolio. So this series of case studies can actually serve as your portfolio, right? So we do these case studies nearly every month, if not every month, and we always come up with case studies, which means we are trying to solve a problem, right? Which is recorded, which is documented on the Word documents. And a portfolio is always something that you record to show what you have done to solve certain problems. So these are a series can help you create your own portfolio as well. Now, from this particular one we are currently running, this customer survey one that we're running now, we have data prepared already. We've shown how to prepare the data. The only other thing is, you know, to try to answer these questions to the fullest. And, you know, it will take someone to really sit down and do a thorough job of it. But what I'm trying to say now is, After this class today, you guys should try to work on this data yourself and try to visualize the data, create very good visuals, very good dashboards, then write a report, write a report on the interesting discoveries that you have found out, because that's what survey is meant to be about anyway. So that's like the call to action, and the call to action is not a blank one, because I remember sometime in maybe earlier this year, between January and March, I asked the question and said 100,000 for one person or 20,000 for 5 people. So let me ask again now. I mean naira, not dollars.
What do you mean?
Like, give 100,000 naira to one person, or give 5 people 20,000 naira.
5 people. Yeah, I think if 5 people, it's a better incentive for more people to do it.
Well, it depends on what you want to achieve.
Okay, let me understand what you mean by that. What we want to achieve, like depends on what
Okay, assuming you have someone pay school fees for 100,000 or 20, you get, and you decide to give that 100,000 to 5 person 20,000, you've not paid anybody's fees. You understand? So you want to solve problem, I just choose one guy and solve it and end it there. Know that you solve one.
Okay. So in this case, basically, we're supposed to have like a competition on these data sets and see who comes up with the sweetest dashboard and the most insightful reports. So the question is, should we have one winner? Or should we have...
No, don't have one winner, please.
Yeah, 5 people.
This one, 5 persons are okay. Sure. 10 persons, so like to get to
Lord, we can pick up 3 or top.
I think 5 is a decent number.
5 people is fine, I think.
10.
You can go 10 then.
5.
Okay. I think we are 26 in this room. Are you saying I should just do 26? No.
We don't mind.
No. So we are going to do let's just do, let's make it. But I'm sorry, it's still going to be open to external people, not only people on the meeting, because, my target is not really you people. You people are not my target for 100K. You guys have money already. I'm targeting more of, young ones, very young ones, NYSC students, and so on and so on.
The young one.
But don't worry, it's open to everyone. So
when it comes to money, everybody's a youth.
So you are just getting to hear this firsthand. I'm still going to have to make a post about it, how you enter for the competition, what's the deadline for submission, and what is the requirement. So that's the call to action for this particular case study. And if you have any questions or anything, this is the time for us to discuss that. Technically, we have come to the end of today's session. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, thank you, Ahmed.
It was insightful. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. How often are we going to be having this? I really enjoyed this class.
Yeah, we must have it every month. It's every month.
Monthly.
It's supposed to be like every Saturday of every month, but if you can't make the Saturday for whatever reasons, we just have to run it every month somehow. So we ran 2 last month. We had to run 2 last month instead of 1. So that's kind of like pushed this one a little bit forward. And then we also had some challenges with the user group, some technical challenges creating the event on the Power BI user group from here. So that's also some of the challenges that we have. But we try to run it every month with case study. And that also goes to tell you that if you have a case study as well, you can just send anonymized data sets, right? I don't mean enterprise project though. I mean a case study that you can start and finish is within 4 hours. Okay. Yes, but it doesn't matter really. There can be anything. I just try to make sure that it's not just one thing that we are trying to tackle. It has to have a starting and an ending. It's not something whereby we say how to write formula for so. That's just a one thing that can easily go inside one single YouTube video. So this one should have a process from start to finish, and you get insight on how to do certain things. Okay. So I'll send an email after this. If you are either on Meetup, you get the email. If you are on a Power BI user group, also get the email. Just join from somewhere. You may not get the email, but I will make sure I attach everything, even on YouTube. I'll give you the link to where you can download the data and where you can also download the case study document as well for your practice and eventually for the competition. Right? So thank you, everybody. Yes.
Thank you, Ahmed.
All right. So I want to assume we don't have any questions. And can end the class right now.
Okay, hello, Ahmed.
Yes, please.
Yeah, the previous case study, I could only see one on the page list, the immediate past one. What was the first one? And then maybe is there a way someone can also have access to the data set and do an individual?
Yeah,
one?
so the 2 case studies are currently on YouTube. And if you read the description on the YouTube video, there's a link to download the data.
Okay.
I believe for the 2 of them. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll do the same thing for this one as well.
Thank you, and thank you for the sessions. You know, what you said about portfolio is quite key. It's also a major basis for assessment of experience of what people have done. So it's thank you for suggesting it here for us, and then for this series. You know?
Yeah.
So what is the best way to host this portfolio thing?
Well, that's open for all of us to discuss because I get this question a lot. Unfortunately for me, I don't do interviews, you know, I don't attend interviews, so I really don't have insights, and I basically disagree with most of
I will get information and share. Some people do like there's something like a personal website. I need to find out exactly how it's done, where you can host some of your these things.
So
you know.
my own suggestion for that, is, even though I have no idea what those recruiters want, if I'm the recruiter, then this is what I would want you to have, basically. You need to have a description of what you have done, description of the problem you solved, right? And then you should also show me. You have described it, but you need to show me, right? These 2 things are very key. So now, how you show me is the question. So how you show me, if I'm going to recommend, is that whatever reports that you have created, you have to publish it. Publish the report and generate a link for it. Okay, that's 1. Then 2, after you generate a link for the report, after you have published this, keep the Power BI desktop file. You need to keep it. Depending on the kind of recruitment you're trying to get. If it's advanced, for example, say me now, for example, I'm trying to recruit to you now. I'm not just going to take the link that you have sent to me like that, because anybody can send that link. I will also request for the Power BI desktop file, because I want to see how you have done those things. I want to see if you cheated your way through, or what's your expertise level. Wow, this guy did some really sophisticated DAX measures. This guy did some highly intelligent Power Query transformations and so on and so forth. To give me an insight. So I'm going to keep the Power BI desktop file as well. So you have the link after you publish, you have your Power BI desktop file. So these 2 things, we are going to need to kind of like put them on your personal page, like someone just mentioned now. You know, have an account on Linktree, not LinkedIn now, Linktree. So on your Linktree account now, you can easily put down all of these things, the description of what you have done, the link for someone to view the reports, and then you may need like a website somewhere, you know, to host the Power BI desktop file, so that if somebody wants to download it, somebody can click on that. I don't know whether that's possible on Linktree, but you need to have it, or maybe a Google Drive, put it on Google Drive and let somebody go and download this Power BI desktop file. That's my personal suggestion, because, you know, I'm not in that space. But I think this should do fine.
Ahmed, sorry, in showing all this, I think okay, for you saying show me, you may want to link the case study to what this output, because it's possible to have a beautiful output that is speaking wrongly to a case, a requirement. You know that. So the only way you want to know if the person did the right thing is to have the case and the output speaking to that case. Now, where this case, the data related to this case are not your own creation, what do? You understand? Assuming I have a data, maybe I solved the problem, but either someone forwarded to me or it's from my company. I mean, such data, I need to be careful. I can't bring it up.
Correct.
Never do that.
You're absolutely correct. So that's why, when you are talking about portfolio that you are trying to show people, the one you are willing to show, it has to be completely anonymized. In fact, you should try and, have somewhere where you indicate that it is anonymized before somebody thinks, are you kidding me? This person I'm trying to hire is actually putting up data in public,
Exactly.
Is this how the person is going to use
I
my
have someone
data?
that went for an interview and lost it at the last stage because he wanted to prove point and he produced a document of his former employer just to prove point and prove himself out.
Yeah, so you need to make sure that you are using anonymized data. Please also indicate that this data set is not real, it is anonymous, right? So even though you work on a similar project, this data you are looking at is completely anonymized, right? So that's the way to go about it. If you use your company data, just anonymize it, remove every sensitive information and replace with something. Like this survey now is real, it's a real survey. So, but I've changed many things. I've changed many things that you won't know. But it's a real survey in terms of, many things, but the answers are not correct. They are not the real survey answers, but at least it's a real survey and it's a real problem. All right. So I think that should be all for today's class. 2 minutes past 9:15. I'll let you know when next we have the next Power BI case studies. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Please
Bye.
share the video of the class. Thank you very much, Ahmed. God bless you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thank you, boss.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.